like to call this meeting to order. It's Tuesday, May 20th, 2025. Going to ask the mayor to lead us in the invocation of the pledge.
Please bow to me. Lord, thank you once again for the wonderful city that we live in. Thank you for the citizens that keep us moving forward, and the city council give them good decision-making abilities tonight. As we move into the Memorial Day weekend, it's not a real happy occasion, but it's a celebration of those men and women who have passed fighting for our country and for our freedom. We ask that you watch over their families. We also ask that you watch over those that are in service, have been in service, and are planning to be in service. They continue to give us the freedom that we are so honored. We ask that you watch over our staff as they keep our city moving forward, and ask that you take care of our first responders and lay healing hands over them and protection on an everyday basis. We ask that all we do in your name, Jesus Christ. Amen. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Kathy, who's here? Do you take the roll?
Mayor Shute.
Here.
Bishop. Carlisle.
Here.
Avery.
Here.
Hochschild. Here. Stewart.
Thank you. If there's anything that anybody wants to talk about that's not on the agenda, if you could see Clerk Haley, she has some paperwork for you to fill out. Mayor's report. Sean, what you got for us?
A few things that happened since the last meeting. The Sheriff's Department put on the Peace Officer Memorial event. Was very moving and honored the police officers, the peace officers that have passed during their duty and had a last call. We appreciate that, and it was very moving. They did a great job. Congrats to the fire department putting on a bike rodeo. Austin, good job organizing that, and everybody else that helped. The whole department helped out, so it's pretty cool. Tons of kids were there, and good service to the community. Everybody had a good time. And also just a updated report on HGTV. We continue to have good attendance downtown. It's been phenomenal as far as it's lasted and where it's going, and I think it's going to kind of continue at a good speed, but it's really a lot of fun. Coming up, we have the Memorial Day event coming up next Monday at the Sea Service Museum. It's at 2:00. Everybody's invited to go attend that. It's just, we honor those, like I said, that sacrifice their lives for our freedom, and we appreciate that. And those that are still serving and that have served, it's just an honor to be part of the United States of America. A couple other things. We got some great things to do. I'll go to the podium. Spiegel family, they only moved here a couple years ago. John and wife. But anyway, John has run the Lights on the Circle for 37 years. So it's going to stay in the family. It's going to continue on. John is retiring. So I've got a proclamation. Proclamation said, whereas the Spiegel family moved to Sebring, Florida in the 1970s, and John Spiegel graduated from Sebring High School in 1980. And whereas John Spiegel was a business owner in downtown Sebring from the mid-80s to 2003, and whereas John served as city councilman for the city of Sebring from 1990 to 1993, and whereas John founded the Christmas Carousel of Lights and continued its event and enjoyment of the city and citizens tours for over 30 years. Whereas Christmas Carol of Lights attracts thousands of people to the circle each December, and whereas John has announced his retirement, with his successor, his son, continuing the Christmas Carousel of Lights tradition for years and years to come. Whereas John has provided a great service to the citizens of the city with honor and devotion over 30 years, now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and city council of the city of Sebring be hereby convey their sincere appreciation for the years of dedicated public service rendered to the city and its citizens. Hamlin.
All right, ready?
I don't want to break the camera.
Thank you, Don.
Right, I have one more exceptional honor. This is really well-deserved over the years, and got to thank Chief Porter for coming up with this idea. The Fire Chiefs Award is bestowed upon individuals who demonstrate exceptional performance in extraordinary circumstances. This is the first of many, hopefully we won't all have. This is to honor those, our first responders that protect us and help us out. So tonight, 3 members of the Sebring Fire Department are receiving the Chiefs Award for their extraordinary act of going above the call of duty at a medical call on April 5th, 2025. At 12:56 p.m. on April 5th, 2025, Station 15 was alerted by Central Dispatch to an active OB in progress en route to your station. It's a birth in progress coming to the station. Lieutenant Paramedic Carlos Rivera, firefighter EMT Michael Vasevich, and intern firefighter Franca Olivero, all stationed at Station 17, promptly responded to a vehicle arriving to Station 715 and assisted the mother and safely delivered the baby in the front seat of the vehicle. Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate it. Michael? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
All right.
Francisco? Carlos? Thank you for everything.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council members, council concerns, comments, liaison reports. Going to start over left.
No comments, no reports.
Laura, got anything?
Yeah,
Oh,
I have a couple of things. I did make it down to the bike thing Saturday, and I think it was busier this year than last year, so I'm thankful for that. I have some concerns about our workshop that we had. There was some things said that wasn't true, like the course couldn't be played on the following day, Tuesday, and it was open and playable on Tuesday. So that was not true. I visited the golf course this week, actually yesterday, and it's looking really good, and they're working on the drainage each and every day, making things better and better. The man that walked the course and was talking about some of the things that was wrong, that was very unprofessional, because he did not tell Fred he was out there. He should have at least told Fred and let Fred go with him. That's not very professional to do that. You walk on a man where he's working and doing his best, and you walk around and show up to a meeting and run down what he's doing. Very unprofessional. So, and I also would like to recommend, because Mr. Blackman did say that he didn't care if we gave the Caddyshack a 5-year lease. I want to recommend that we give them a 5-year lease. and that's up to the council. That's what I got to say.
Thank you, Lenore. I got nothing except what both of you echoed with fire department and putting on a great event over the weekend. So, thank you, fire department. Consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I second.
Clerk Haley?
Carlisle,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Klobuchar,
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to old business. There is no old business unless anybody has anything. Okay. New business. Ms. Chantel Paris is going to come over and talk about the community prayer gathering. So, you want to come on up? Tell us what you got.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Chantel Paris, and I'm from Bountiful Blessings Church of God here in Sebring. I would like to propose to you all our community prayer gathering, which I'm recommending it is held every first Friday of the month from 8 to 9, about an hour. The proposal is very simple. We respectfully propose establishing a monthly prayer event on the Circle downtown Sebring, first Friday of the month from 8 to 9. This event will foster community, promote spiritual connection, prayer, togetherness, harmony for our community. And it's not just Sebring, it's for Avon Park, Lake Placid, us coming together on one accord for our community, praying for our officials, praying for our businesses, praying for our residents, our visitors, just being the voice for our community. And I believe it can be a great thing to expound. We have currently 4 churches with us. So it's Bountiful Blessings, Casa de Refugio. We also have House of Change and Highlands Community Church with us. So we are welcoming everyone to come out and to support. First Fridays, 8 to 9 about.
Chantel, we have several events that are planned that maybe, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so you might have to move your
Yes, understand.
service around that stuff,
Yes,
so.
you've got to explain that to me.
Okay,
Very
okay, good, okay.
Any comments from council?
Why are you doing it 8, 8, and 9? Why not
Why?
earlier? Why not earlier?
There's another gentleman that's there from, I believe, 5:30 to 7, I believe, on Fridays. So we're right
Oh,
after
okay.
him.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I make a motion we approve as request.
I second.
Kathy?
Carlisle,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Klobuchar,
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Paris. All right, going on to 10B, rescheduling of the future land use. Scott, want to talk about this?
Yes, sir. Background on this is planning and zoning, heard some future land use and zoning changes for ordinances 1539.
Scott, hang on just a second. You guys were approved under the consent agenda, by the way, so, okay. See you, Jeremy.
Your thing went away.
Wants me to sign in, do Adobe Acrobat. Sorry about that. So agenda item 10B is a reschedule of future land use and zoning changes due to concern about noticing requirements for ordinances 1539, 1540, 1541, 1542, 1543, and 1544. These were heard by the Planning and Zoning Board this past week. They made a recommendation to deny 1539 and 1540. The applicant has withdrawn those from their presentation and is seeking to reschedule everything, the Gapway Groves, future land use and zoning changes for everything north of the Sebring Parkway. The new schedule will be Planning and Zoning Board, June 10th. First reading before City Council on June 17th, and final reading, which would be the second reading before City Council on August 5th. So that will be the new schedule. They'll be going back through the entire process again with new noticing.
So if you're here to talk about this today, best time is to come back June 10th for P&Z, and then we'll be talking about it later in June. Anything else on that?
Yes.
All right. Next thing we have Miss Ada McGowan request for concerned citizens of Washington Heights. If you all come on up, talk with us.
Good evening, Ada McGowan.
Good evening.
Can you pull that mic down? We can't hardly hear you. Thank you.
Better?
Yes, ma'am.
Ada McGowan, Sebring.
Carl Hall.
Teresa Hall. So, first I would like to start off by saying, right now, based on what we've observed from the past couple of weeks, that there has been a small improvement on the cemetery. It's just the reason of us coming out here, that we've seen the trucks and everything have been coming, trying to come and till the grounds a little bit better than what they were. We didn't have a say-so, nor did you guys, I don't believe, in where HGTV did their setup and their improvement. But we have a say on what we do in Washington Heights. So we have a few people that's willing to just come out and want to make a difference in our area. And one of the largest areas we have is the cemetery, the Lakeside Cemetery. So by doing that, I did ask Kathy, and she did explain to us that it had to be approved by family if we wanted to touch the vaults or anything like that, which we had consent from many family members. We were just aware last week that there was one family member that did not approve of the painting that we that was done. And she explained it to me that she didn't approve of it because she was waiting to let all the fungus and everything grow on it, because she has a grandson that is into environmental things and they was going to take care of that themselves. However, there are graves out there from the 1800s that has no family, and just coming up to Veterans Day, so we actually just wanted to make our area just look more presentable. Now, I of course don't know that much about it, but Carl and Teresa Hall, sisters and brother, they are more familiar with that area than I am, so I'm going to allow them to actually just elaborate on everything that I just said.
We have been doing this at Lakeside Cemetery since 2010. About a month before Memorial Day, we would go out, clean up above ground vaults that had mold and mildew and that was falling apart. We repaired them. Last week, Miss Haley came and told us that we couldn't do that. We had to have permission from the family, which we got, but then she gave me some runaround about you got to have written permission or email and all this other stuff. Now, I doubt very seriously that anybody on this commission has ever been to Lakeside Cemetery just to look. You have. You have seen the condition that it's in. So We trying to improve that. She told us about the rules and regulations of the cemetery, which we had no knowledge of, because like I say, we've been doing this since 2010, and nobody ever made it an issue. Why now? That's what I would like to know. Why now? I mean, it's coming up Veterans Memorial Day. We would like to improve out there. You know, the maintenance is contracted out, is not,
Would you like me to answer you directly?
yeah.
The maintenance is done through our Public Works Department. The mowing is contracted out, but overseen by our Public Works Department, Mr. Steve Kramer, who is our Public Works Director. But it is
Okay.
an outside mowing company for mowing only. Mr. Kramer's Department of the Public Works handles all other maintenance, and I handle the violations, the selling of the lots, all of that kind of thing. The
Okay,
permitting.
we've been out there. Sometime it might be once every other month that the mowing has been done. But you guys sign off of it when time to come for them to get paid, that they did the work, which they do not do. You got something to say?
I just want to say my name is Teresa Hall, and we have a brother out there. We have a brother that was killed in Vietnam. We have a grandfather. We have an uncle, and we got a first cousin that buried out there. And we always go to make sure that these things are intact. And when you look around, and seeing the condition of things and how the headstones are falling over, and I know she told us that those are private property and you can't do anything about that. But the trees, the oak trees are old, and the root system is pushing the stones up and cracking a few vaults. And when you look around, maybe one day you might go up there and something sitting on top of the ground that you wouldn't want up there. And then when we walk the grounds, old oak trees that have fallen down, the limbs, palm trees, they're laying in the aisles. I don't know how they could, safely run their mowers over there and not remove the debris. And then the vegetation, I know she told us that when people plant flowers or trees or something out there, that that's their responsibility. But I mean, when it
They're
grows
not allowed to do that.
wild,
They're not allowed to plant trees or flowers or anything. That is not allowable at the cemetery, except under the direction of Mr. Kramer. If a tree is to be planted, to make sure that we don't have this problem that people are planting trees too close to the monuments, or in between monuments, or too close to the tombstones themselves. So that is not allowed for people to go out there and plant trees or bushes or flowers or anything, because the only part that you own at that cemetery is your 5x10 space, which is the amount of space of where your plot is, where your vault is.
okay, we're talking about Lakeside
Yes, ma'am.
Cemetery,
Mhm.
and I know
And
you know
Pine
what
Crest,
I'm
it's the
talking
same.
about.
There's no difference.
Okay, the difference to me is, I mean, for years, like, for almost 30 years, there had not been a memorial service performed at Lakeside. Because when we contacted the VFW, they told us that the changing of the guards is every other year, every 2 years. And a lot of those people are from up north. They had no knowledge that a cemetery was back there. And almost 90 vets are buried back there. And you got vets from, most of the stones that I saw was vets from World War II. And I mean some 1800s. And they don't have family here. There's no one here. A lot of those stones, by us growing up here, we don't even know, never heard of the name, but because they're vets. And they since in the past, maybe last year was the first service I attended in about 30 years out there. It was a very beautiful service. And before then, what we have been doing is just getting collections and from the community, and we were buying flags and placing them on the vets' headstones. still with no service, but we was doing it, you know, as a commemorative act. And all I'm saying is this: even if, and I know there's some things, like she said, the only thing y'all really could do out here is pull weeds, pull moss, maybe if you don't have a ladder, then. But the trees are so tall, they're so old, and they give off so much mold. That's why the headstones are green and moldy. And when you drive in, it even smell moldy out there. And so they said they put in sprinkler systems out there. But if you walk around, the weeds have overtaken the grass. You can't hardly distinguish the grass from the weeds. And so we were just saying that we just want whatever the city has to do, just to be a little more diligent about it. And you know, that's pretty much.
One more thing I have to say. I'm pretty sure you guys have pictures of what the cemetery looked like. I have seen them. Some of the shrubbery that you see was not recently planted. They've been planted there for a lot of years. You know, so all of a sudden, last week, we can't do that anymore. You know, we trying to do something to make this place look presentable where you won't be ashamed to come out there and look and say, this is where my uncle buried, or this is where my grandfather buried. Take the handcuffs off. Let us do some work out there that's constructive. That's all we asking. We ain't trying to break no rules or regulations or nothing like that. Just take the handcuffs off. Thank you.
One more thing to Miss Nancy Kearney. We apologize. This was the family that we painted her husband's tomb, and she had already had some other things planned, but the other family members, nobody complained or anything like that. So based on everything that we've gone over, we're not asking anyone to do and go above and beyond. We're just asking just to allow us to do. I know there's guidelines, I know there's codes and statutes and everything like that, but to me, it seemed like there, you know, should be a statute of limitation on how long it could be before anyone can just say, hey, nobody's attending this grave. So, and apparently they don't have, if we can look for family, can show proof that we was looking for family and we want to do something with this tombstone, it should not be an issue that, okay, y'all going, because you're not being held liable for this. I understand that there's a liability if y'all consent to us going touching the headstones, or if y'all touching the headstones. We understand that, but we want to clean it up. You know, we want to pick up whatever is out there. We want to do that, and we can't do that if we start and then someone comes out and stop us in midair. Because then the helpers that's there, they'll get discouraged and they don't want to come back. You know, so that's we're not asking anybody to jump through hoops. Just we'll jump.
Just let me clarify, when I said that y'all could go out there and pull weeds and take a broom and brush off tombstones or whatever and pull weeds or whatever, pull moss that's hanging down without getting on a ladder, that to me is cleaning. When you talked about cleaning, you were talking about pressure cleaning.
No, we never.
But when you asked me about cleaning them, you specifically said we want to pressure
I
clean
did not.
or power wash. What's it? Power. Yes.
We didn't,
Okay. Okay.
we didn't say the pressure clean. We didn't say power.
What did you say then?
We said clean. We said we want to clean it off and we wanted
Ada,
to
you
paint it.
specifically said power, because that was the whole thing, because I said if you did that, you could damage the tombstone because of that
Maybe you
rock.
heard it, but I didn't say it. I'm just saying, maybe you heard it. I'm not saying you didn't hear it, but I know I didn't say it. Only because I don't know
I only
anything
talked to
about
you.
it.
Okay.
I don't know anything
Alright.
about
The
pressure.
challenge is it's private property.
Yeah, yeah.
The city cannot authorize someone to go do anything with somebody else's private property.
Mhm.
But I know Mr. Kramer may have some
Yeah,
comments to
yeah,
provide
he's-
as
yeah,
well.
he's gonna, I asked him if he would come and clarify a lot of things for us as well. Scott did give us the codes that's concerning the cemetery. He did do that. So, and we do have a copy of that as well.
And again, we are aware that it is private property. However, there are properties that's no family is available. So we're just asking if we can clean the ones that does not have a family at all, or do we just let it sit there and dry rot and just deface, you know, the value of the cemetery. You know? So I'll let Steve say.
Well, thank you for honoring the veterans.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Ada. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Hall. Steve, will I come up and talk about the cemetery?
Throw my glasses. City of Sebring Public Works Department values the concerns voiced by residents regarding the conditions and management of Lakeside Cemetery. We fully recognize the significance of this site, not only as a final resting place for loved ones, but as a historical cultural landmark with deep meaning for many, especially within the Washington Heights community. We are and have been committed to maintaining our cemeteries along with any other city facility with respect, dignity, transparency, and we appreciate the opportunity to address the recent concerns brought forward by the concerned citizens of Washington Heights. As many of you know, our department tends to speak through actions rather than words. As the director and as our public works staff can confirm, I often remind our team that we all put our pants on the same way. That means no individual, no location is treated as more or less important than any other. Every employee and every site we maintain is approached with equal respect and commitment. We understand that everybody has different expectations and outcomes they hope to see. But the Public Works Department is committed to listening to the concerns of Washington Heights residents and making decisions in the best interests of the entire community. While we may not be able to meet every individual request, we are working to ensure that all actions, including those related to Lakeside Cemetery, are guided by fairness, safety, and long-term community stewardship. In April 2023, purchase order 230338 was issued to Cross and Payne in the amount of $18,000. Scope of work included elevating canopies, trimming palms, thinning tree crowns, removing any dead trees, and grinding stumps at Lakeside Cemetery. This effort was undertaken to bring the site to a manageable condition for ongoing maintenance by the Public Works Department. As part of our expectations and goals, the Public Works Department underwent a restructuring in October of 2024. This change enabled us to divide the city into district zones, allowing our employees to visit each area at least once a day. They are responsible for conducting routine maintenance, as mowing and trimming are handled by the contractor Jack's Lawn Care under the direction of myself. These activities are documented in daily work orders submitted by employees for the locations they maintain. Since that time, the committed employees of the Public Works Department have been maintaining Lakeside/Pinecrest through regular inspections, which include checking for fallen trees, branches, and irrigation issues. At Lakeside alone, we have replaced approximately 75 sprinkler heads, along with addressing any other concerns that arise. From 6/23 of 2024 to 5/8 of 2025, we have completed 384 work orders related to maintenance and repairs of Lakeside/Pinecrest cemeteries. In conclusion, the city remains committed to the continued care and preservation of Lakeside Cemetery through the diligent efforts of the Public Works Department and the support of concerned citizens. We strive to maintain all city facilities with respect and attention it deserves. We thank the community for its ongoing involvement and remain open to any further input or concerns to ensure the cemetery continues to reflect the values and dignity of those it honors. I just want to thank everyone in the Public Works Department. I think they do an awesome job. When we restructured, we set up into different areas and we had a work order system implemented. Every day the guys have to log what they do. They take pictures, timestamps. So everything's documented to show the
progress that we make, not only for budgetary purposes to show that we're, using tax dollars wisely, but also to kind of show what these guys do. And there's a couple of them that have come tonight to, show support for our fellow workers in the Public Works Department. We're a group we're here to work with people. We're not here to work against people. We're here to do the best job that we can for the citizens of the city of Sebring, whether it's Washington Heights, Lakeview Drive, Circle. Our guys are all over the place. We're here to serve the residents. So I just felt that I needed to speak tonight. Like I said, I'm usually a man of few words, and I don't like the attention. But I felt tonight was very important. Number one, to stand up for our department, and number two, to recognize the guys that do work out there. So,
Thank you, Steve.
do you have any questions or concerns or?
What do you think you could do to, change what they're saying needs to be done, Steve?
We don't have access to private lots in Menard.
Okay. Well, I see a lot of that growth, is that on somebody's
Yes.
lot?
I'm not gonna disagree that there's growth out there. I'm not.
Oh, no, I'm asking, is that on somebody's particular lot?
We need
Okay.
to trim that. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
on the
yeah,
lot.
yeah. I'm just asking questions, and that one picture of that oak tree and the headstone, right, that oak tree is like huge. It was
They're on
planted.
both sides.
Huh?
There's a couple on Pinecrest as well that have the same,
Yeah,
but we can't go in and remove that tree and that stump grind. It's unaware of where things are
right,
located.
yeah, right, yeah.
Um,
Okay. Well, I understand you can't touch the grave site. That's what I was asking. Was that growth on a grave site? Once someone's buried there, that's their piece of property.
I mean, a huge addition was you allowing us to purchase that bucket truck. I mean, that's been out there several times. I mean, it's been throughout the city, but it's been a huge asset to our department. Matter of fact, last week when we had that big storm, last week or the week before, there was a tree that fell in the front there. We had that damage. That's what we're working on. Getting some stuff together for that, along with waiting for a quote to trim the fence line that sits there. So we try to be proactive, and that's kind of been my MO since I've been here. I try to, and the people that work for us, they've got that mentality now that let's be a little proactive instead of reactive, and I think we're getting to that point.
Well, I agree with you. You guys do a great job. I think all of our city employees, golf course, you guys, you all do a great job at maintaining what you can. And I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Any other comment from the community?
I would like to say just one more time that we never meant to say that no one wasn't doing a complete job. We also appreciate Steve and Public Works for what they have accomplished and what they've done recently. However, we're looking at the bushes that have the tombs underneath them, that if that's the city, then the city can trim that down. That's nobody's private property where the tombstone is laying and the bushes are over it. That doesn't.
Well, I think
belong.
that's what we are saying, Miss Ada, too, that is, that's not our responsibility as a city if it's on that 5x10 space.
So you're saying that the bush that they didn't, that's over the graveside, if it's covering it, then
Based on what I saw this morning when I went out there with Steve, I think that would be the case. That a lot of those sites that I saw, it was covered within that 5 to 10 foot space. That we can't, as a city, cannot
it's
do
hiding
that.
it. But you have pictures where they're hiding the gravesite, and that's okay. If the
I'm just saying the city can't touch that if it's on that plot.
Well, this is Florida. Things grow, birds drop droppings. I mean, plants grow without us planting them.
So then who upkeeps the ground? You're not touching the.
It's private property.
It's within their property. So, yes.
We as city council can't ask Public Works to maintain that because it's not ours to maintain. in that plot, in that section.
In that section, so who's supposed to take care of it? If
Ada, I go out and do my parents
Uh-huh.
and my brothers
right.
because I can't. They're family. But if they're not family, unless you have permission, we can't do it as a city. And that's what Ms. Haley was trying to explain to y'all.
No, I understood what
You
she said.
you
She
have
explained it
you
perfectly.
have to get permission, and we realize that some of these people probably don't know or know how to get permission, but it's kind of like our hands are tied too.
This is just not the city of Sebring's issue. My wife's family's from Arcadia. They go back 6 generations, and their family plot has a big oak tree right in the middle of it that's pushing everything around. And then there's a concrete barrier, and the city will not go inside that barrier to clean up anything. So we've got to do the same thing. It's just, when you purchase a plot, that's your plot. It's like the deed to your house. Nobody can come to your house and fix it unless you let them in. And it's just like these plots. So it's just not the city of Sebring put this ordinance together to say we're not going to touch it. This is pretty much a nationwide
thing, isn't it?
I don't know if it's federal, but it's an ordinance that's just not
Property rights.
akin to here. It's property rights is what it
With
is.
the exception, if there's violations on that plot, when they put the solar lights and things like that, the city has the authority, because that's a violation.
Right.
Without notice to the family, we have the authority to go out there, and Tiffany Hill, who's my assistant, we manually walk those cemeteries.
You guys go out there and
And
do
we go
that.
out there and we manually take care, so we, as the city staff, are allowed to go out there and remove any violations without permission from the family, we just go out there and do it. So that is an exception to that, if it's a violation of our ordinance and they put all.
should.
Because it was in the
sometimes.
agreement of purchase. When they purchased
Yes,
that
ma'am.
plot, that was in the agreement.
Well,
So,
that ordinance has been in place from the beginning probably of time, so people are made aware of that, but when they come in and purchase lots, and that's been for several years, that they sign a form or they are made aware every time that they buy a plot of the rules and regulations, and they are asked if they want a copy of those. So they are fully aware of our rules and regulations that have been in place. But that is the only time that we manually touch the graves themselves, is if there's a violation.
And the ordinance specifically provides
Yes,
for
sir,
that.
Yes.
right, per the ordinance, so we're allowed to do that. So that is an exception about us touching that basically protected space, is if there's a violation.
and we do understand the need to make it look better.
Yeah,
It's just,
so
it's-
because you're not touching the grave, you're still you're tilling the grounds that the people that you said you hired to do that, then are they not supposed to do any edging or anything like that?
The ordinance says raking and cleaning of the grounds and pruning of any shrub, trees placed on the premises by the city.
Mr.
So,
Kramer can
yes.
address because they do that, but Mr. Kramer can address.
He's with the public works, but
Right, he oversees the mowing contract.
okay, so but you got this big bush that's over this
You were talking about edging and stuff, and that's what I
Right.
thought you were, okay, that's what I think he was going to address as far as the landscape, the mowing company.
The mowing contract covers for them to trim around each location out there. I believe the location you're talking about is when you come in to the right.
It's one too.
That big, I see it every time I walk in there. There's a grave in there.
Right.
So we can't,
Mm-hmm.
trust me, when I work driving in there, I see that, I think it's a tree falling over the fence. But I can't legally, correct me if I'm wrong, I can't go and trim someone's burial plot. That's all on that parcel or that plot.
She's talking about the one that's been planted between some monuments.
No,
Well, that's the one you showed me.
no, they have pictures. They have pictures.
Is that it? Is that one of them?
Yeah, that's one of them. That's one of them right there. That's a humongous bush. And if you trimmed around that, you will be able to see whoever that is. You don't even have to touch that. Just touch the bushes. That's all. And that's city around the the bushes, not the plot itself. Trim the bushes. That's all we asking. And it's like 3 of them out there that's like that.
Steve, can you make an effort to go out and look at those plots that they're looking at and then see if it, with what dimensions, which space may be able to, see if that's something that you can trim.
I'm saying it too, we don't know what was necessarily planted years ago when it comes to shrubs or bushes or plants either. So it's what we don't want to do as a city too is to take down a bush or a plant that somebody planted intentionally just because maybe it's not completely
Don't take it
maintained.
down, just trim it.
That it's a very fine line in everything that you're saying though of what the responsibility is for the city versus what's the responsibility of the plot owner or the family.
That's all.
And we're doing the same
You're
thing.
very well intentioned.
Yes.
There's no question about that. Not everybody would want for you to do something on
Understood.
their relatives, burial site or even stand on it.
Understood.
Any other comments from the audience? Come on up. And can you state your name for the record too?
Good evening to Mayor Shu, council members, and everyone present. My name is Nancy Kearney. I'm here because I'm concerned. Number one, I want to thank the committee of these young people for what they are doing in the cemetery. However, when I visited the cemetery on Mother's Day and saw my grandfather's vault painted, I was devastated for number one. I thought that the city had done it. And when I went to the city for some other business last week and made an inquiry about it, I was told that no, it hadn't been painted, the city hadn't done it. And then they told me, said, there's a group of people out there with Ada McGowan and they're doing some work and blah, blah, blah. But at any rate, I was disappointed because I have a grandson who's studying environmental issues. And the last time he and his mom were here, we were at the cemetery and made a decision to let the fungus grow on the vault because he wanted to study. He wanted to see how far it was going to grow, what the effects of it would be. And then when I went out there and found out that it had been cleaned off and painted, number one, that was kind of upsetting to me. And secondly, I didn't like the color of that it was used to paint. So when I went to City Hall for some other business, came in for some other business, I thought the city had done it, so I asked, well, why didn't you all contact the owners before you painted? I can't speak about other owners, but for my grandfather, I have a father out there, grandfather, grandmother, daughter, uncles, so I have a lot of people out there. Plus, everybody know I've been in the funeral industry business, so I know all about the cemetery and almost who's buried where. And when I was told what was going on, I voiced my displeasure at that tombstone that I own being painted. I don't have anything to do with what somebody else's family has given permission or whether they like it. But I'm just saying for me and my family, which my grandson wanted to study the growth of the mold, it was upsetting that nobody tried to contact me to find out, is this what you want us to do to it? Which I would have told them no. I'm not here to, try to bash anybody, but I'm just saying the family members should be contacted before anything is done on a family member's plot and without them giving permission. People know I live here. You all know I live here. Somebody could have gotten in touch with me and said, is it okay? But you didn't. So that being the set of circumstances, the damage has been done. And I'm voicing my sentiment because I was upset about it. I'm not mad. I was upset. Ada and I are very good friends, and so are the Halls. I don't have anything against them personally. I just didn't like the way it was done. And I thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we understand what Kathy was saying as far as letting the family make the decision. But, without Miss Nancy, there were others that did concede, and agree that we could do. Actually, we had Miss Marie Daniel who was out there, her and her grandsons, you know, so we had people out there taking care of their grave sites along with us. Never, intent to, diminish anybody's, personal property. We were just only trying to, make the place, more presentable. Especially in this coming around Memorial Day, Veterans Day, and everything like that. So, I mean, we can go back and forth all day for the same thing, but, I'm understanding, and I'm sure you guys are gonna say the same thing, you know, well, can't do anything for personal property, understood. But anything that belongs to the city that can be done, we would greatly appreciate it, greatly.
Thank you, Ms. Ada. And I want to say too, when I first got elected, one of my first visits to was both sites, both cemeteries, going around all the city too, and just to see the difference. I think just 2 years ago to now, I've been there several times throughout the last couple of years, and even a couple times this month, last couple months. I think it is looking better and better, especially when Croston and Payne came by and did all that tree work, and then the consistent maintenance that Steve and the team has been doing. They showed me that work order list, and it was a very long list. So I think we were saying the same thing, it's just maybe of the few of the little details. So, and I think if there's, correct me if we're wrong, Steve, but anything that you see too, Steve is one of the guys who's going to get it done. He's quick. So if there is anything on the city property that we need to be aware of, please let us know. And,
Different situations, not just.
yes.
I think for future, if you are clearing someone's property that is giving you right to do that, I would get that in writing so that we know for sure that you've, in case someone else comes to complain, you have documentation that says that you were given that opportunity.
Anybody else? Comments? Could you state your name for the record when you get up?
Marie Daniel. Forgive me. Thank you for letting me speak. I have a throat problem. I want to say, in cleaning off private property, I was out there with my grandson and we did just that. And to my surprise, when I went to clean off my father's grave, I couldn't find it. Simply because of the improvements that the city made by adding extra dirt and grass. For some reason, it has overtaken it. I can't even find the headstone. And it was an in-ground headstone. So my point is this. If you're going to get permission to improve private property, which is one of my private property, nobody did that. And it's a hurt and disappointment to me that I can't find the grave. And it was on the west side of the cemetery. So I would ask the city to always be cognizant of when you do improvements, at least let us know if you have covered up the headstones so that the family will know we can't find it.
I will make a quick comment to that, Ms. Daniels. Obviously, Public Works, if they've replaced any sod or whatever, they know where those, they know where the graves are. They know, we have a map, and we know where those graves are, so they don't ever mark, they would never put grass in where graves are gonna be done. They might replace graves and walkways and, roadways, but well, Lakeside doesn't really have roadways, Pinecrest has roadways, but replace grass there, but never where monuments are. I will tell you that the headstones requirements are different now. Headstones sink. My parents have 4 Ks that they did back in the early 90s. And I have to, if I don't go out there very often, I can't find the Ks. I literally have to take something and dig until I find it, and then I have to unbury it. So I don't know how often you were going out there or were able to go out there, but that could have been the case that they have sunk. By the time my father passed, the regulations were changed, and they are different requirements of how they do the regulations now with monuments and headstones. their headstone will never sink because of the regulations that are in now. But back in the early 90s when they did the case, they sink all the time, and I can't, if I don't go out there, and we've had a lot of rain, you can't find them. They're completely covered over with grass, and it's not grass that the city put out there, it's just overgrown grass. And so I have the same problem specifically with my parents, and a lot of it is just because they sunk.
This
And
was
that could be
in
the product of-
2004, I believe, if my memory serves me
I
right.
don't remember.
And the first time I went out there, it was clay dirt over that whole area as if to reseed it or something. But I would just like to know, and I'll be down to the office to get the plot number so we can go out there and find
Yes,
it.
ma'am. I just say, that when Public Works, when they replace the grass, we don't do it in the middle of where there's.
Well, it is grown over, we can't
Yeah,
find
I
it.
understand.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Daniels. Anybody else? Good. All right. Business from the audience, there is none. So let's move over to the city attorney's business. Bob, let's turn it over to you.
Ordinance number 1545 is entitled an ordinance of the City of Sebring, Florida, amending the City of Sebring Police Officers Retirement Trust Fund adopted pursuant to ordinance number 1004 as subsequently amended, amending section 29, reemployment after retirement, providing for codification, providing for severability of provisions, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date.
Okay.
This is on council's agenda for first reading.
Okay. So looking for a motion.
You want a motion?
Well, yeah, Rob, right, looking for a motion to approve.
Correct.
ordinance
Yeah,
1545.
I make a motion we approve ordinance 1545 on first reading and schedule second reading and following reading for June the 3rd, 2025.
Second.
Any questions from the audience? Okay. Nothing up here. Happy to call the roll.
Arnold,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Colbert's.
Yes.
Passing that. Let's see. Going to city administration business. Scott, what do you got for a project report?
So on the project report, only a couple of material changes. Relocation of public works utilities, contract for land purchase. That is in final stages of being closed upon. So we should be closing upon that by no later than mid-June. I'm waiting on Mr. Macbeth's attorney to reach out to us and finish any title work that needs to be done. The next one is the property located at 126 West Center. Elevators have been inspected. The company that did the inspection provided a report. They've indicated, and there are 3 elevators in the building, as you all may know. Elevator 1 has been decommissioned, no longer there, if you will. Elevator number 2 does require some work, but it should be operational. He has an estimate to do that and to decommission elevator number 3. Elevator number 3 is a smaller elevator. It's not ADA compliant. Has some older parts in it. Does not believe that we could recommission it. So his recommendation would be to decommission that elevator, and the total cost of doing the repairs to elevator number 2 and decommissioning elevator number 3 should be in the range of $70,000 to $85,000. I think I've spoken to you all in the past about the roof. The cost of the roof can be anywhere from a renovation of the existing roof that would provide like a 10-year warranty, or in the neighborhood of $180,000 to $200,000, all the way up to putting a new roof on that would gain us a 32-year warranty, and his estimate of that would be somewhere in the range of $600,000. Then the only other large item we're talking about would be the air conditioning system. That would require a new chiller, new air handlers, and that cost, what, we were given an estimate of roughly $500,000 for that equipment. So the due diligence period is ending on Thursday of this week. If we want to move forward with the purchase of that property, I think the contract as written allows us to do so. If we wish to ask the property owner to do anything else in reference to this, then we would need to let him know by this Thursday.
Correct me if I'm wrong too, but it looks like you and Bob want just some additional guidance from council too, and make a motion to move forward with this too, with all the new information that we have.
If you want to cancel it, we need to know so we can cancel it within the inspection period. If you're comfortable moving forward with the city acquiring it, the purchase price is 1.4 million. A motion to give us direction on how you'd like us to go forward.
So do we want to see a motion to continue as presented for the purchase price of $1.4 million?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
The property is valuable.
Yep. Any public comment? Got a motion, got a second, and no more discussion up here, other than it's a great investment, looking forward to it. Kathy, you want to call the roll?
Carlisle,
Yes. Yes.
Avery,
Wait, hold on, sorry. Hold on.
Are we adjourning?
No, not yet.
I just wanted to invite you all for June 6th at 8 p.m.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Yes.
Colbert's.
Yes.
Motion approved. All right, Scott, you're up again for the pop-up reservation application.
So attached is a proposed special event application for use of the vendor pop-up on the circle. At this time, we're not recommending any rental fee for it, just scheduling it. We're seeking council guidance on whether or not you all would like us to collect liability insurance, listing the city's additional insured when somebody schedules it. Perhaps also maybe the number of times, whether it's per month, per year, that an entity could schedule the pop-up. We've kind of listed out a few items right now. We're indicating no food or beverage vendors would be accepted for it, as you know, they would be in competition with the food vendors downtown. And then scheduling of it, we're looking to maybe get concurrence that if they can schedule it within a month of use, that would be good. We wouldn't want people scheduling it well in advance, and then an event popping up, if you will, a special event on the circle, and then us telling them they'd have to, reschedule. I guess another alternative to that is we would just indicate, potentially that it's subject to scheduling of events. Those are the items we're looking for some input on.
Can you move it forward on that? My only thought was to make sure, put in somewhere that people are not able to reserve it consecutively. Like they can't, request like 4 weeks in a row. That there should be some availability for other people to move forward, and potentially limit per year if we get a lot of interest.
Say not consecutively, could they do like 2 to 3 days in a row?
Yeah, I would think there would be some limit, just to have somewhere there if they're doing it during the week. But if they're like wanting every Saturday for the whole, for like if you have 5 times a year and they're able to do 5 Saturdays in a row, that's limiting other people's ability to have a Saturday.
That's a good idea. Why don't, because we talked a little bit about that. Why don't we say like, okay, you can rent it 6 months, 6 times a year, up to 4 days in a row, or 3 or 4 days in a row. But if there's an availability that opens up and you want to rent it again, you can, but you know, it's that you're kind of limited unless there's an opening.
Yes.
And then it's subject to events and that. And also, I think we need to have liability insurance. Because I went on Eventbrite, and you can, for a common store, basically, a pop-up for the 2 to 3 day, it's $105, so it's not, but I really think it needs to be, in case something does happen, that it doesn't fall back on the city, so.
I agree with the insurance. Or do you have any?
No, that's good. We're talking about the spokes too, right? Not just.
No, just that little pop-up, that thing, that little bar that's in the middle,
Oh, okay, okay.
just that
Yeah,
pop-up.
this is just for that pop-up.
Okay.
And it's advertised on HTV as a business incubator.
Okay,
So
I'm fine with it.
we've
And you
had
were saying
inquiries
6 weeks
from
every 4 days.
businesses, and we've had inquiries.
6
from
times
others.
raised, yeah.
But she was saying consecutively, so are you saying six
Well,
sessions consecutively up to
No, you can't,
You can't
It's
do it
like 6
consecutive, but you can do it
times,
6
right.
times through the year.
just 6 times during the
Right.
year, but
And
not
is-
consecutive?
And is
I didn't
there,
understand it that way, so
will
I'll
there
understand.
be a day max? So can they reserve it for 7 days? Can they reserve it for 3 days? You know, so in a row. So if they wanted to come into the city for 3 days and set up, would that be okay? But can they do that for 7 days in a row? You know, so there's got to be some guideline there on how much they can reserve that space.
3 days.
I would think 3 days would be.
I would think 3 days, that, like, for a week.
and I mean, this can be, we can figure out, somebody says, hey, do it for 7 days. We can adjust this too, you know, I mean, this is kind of a trial, because
Yeah.
I looked all over and I couldn't find anything pop-up type thing without, you know, some semi-permanent.
Yeah, it's something we'll probably need to revisit at some point,
All right.
see how it works out.
I would say let's test this out for the next 6 months and then reevaluate maybe early December based on what has happened and the feedback that we get from the vendors. Okay. So Scott, what do you need? Do you want a motion or just more guidance to revise that based on those adjustments?
Just, I think, motion approving the vendor pop-up application with that guidance.
I wanna-
What? What did you say?
Make a motion
the
to
vendor
approve
pop-up application with their guidance.
with our,
6 times a year up to 3 days. I'm just making
Are we
sure.
making
that-
those,
Not
are we making those
consent- yeah.
actual
6
recommendations?
times, but not consecutive.
You could authorize Mr. Natelick to come up with an initial batch of
Yeah, why don't we do that, turn it over to staff to
procedures.
come up with the
Yeah.
guidelines, and then
revisit.
we can vote on it.
Time during the day,
Huh?
8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Yeah,
I think I'd go to
Yeah,
9.
for a full day.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I'd go to 9.
9, 8
8
to
a.m.
9,
9 p.m.
yeah.
What about conflicts with events that are going on?
So it should be available during a special event. So if somebody does a regular special event,
So if somebody's doing a regular special event, generally they want the entire use of the circle.
Right.
Well, yeah, and that
Yeah, it
limit that
wouldn't,
they
it
can't.
wouldn't be during that time, that really causes people to get upset.
I mean, the only way I think I'd permit that is if they had worked out something in coordination with the event
With the event,
organizer,
yeah.
but they could talk to the event organizer directly.
Right.
And then we can proceed forward that way.
Are
Pay-
the
pay
event
for a booth.
organizers able to rent that space if they have already reserved?
So I might say it's implied,
Okay.
but we could have them fill out a special event pop-up application as well.
Will they use it, though? Special events? I mean, it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if they
Some
could
of them
then
do,
rent
right.
it, you know, like, can they
I
get,
think
they-
they've done that on a couple of them.
if they can use the
Yeah.
space and, yeah,
They use it as a rental. It's just like putting a booth on a circle.
right.
So Bernard, did you say you wanted Scott to come back? with something
Yeah,
and you
he
voted on
can,
it? So-
yeah, just come back with some guidelines.
so-
I'd like to get
Well-
this started as soon as possible.
Yeah,
I
well,
think we
If
should
it's all
say,
right,
just give him the
Staff-
authority
staff.
to make the guidelines
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we'll start.
They'll revisit after some months, see how it's going. You
got
These
the
things
motion.
are clear as mud. We know
Yeah.
some stuff, but okay.
Yeah.
Have we got a motion from Lenore?
Got a motion? Do we have a second?
What is the motion?
The motion,
Yes.
the motion is to authorize Scott to come up with the guidelines and for us to revisit it in 6 months.
Okay, I second that.
So then that means you can't do that then. So you're just coming up with guidelines and are you authorizing use for it, or am I just the only one that's confused? Because
Yes,
Yes,
he's gonna have the guidelines to authorize the use for it.
If what
you
he,
didn't say, you just said to make the guidelines, so authorize, go ahead and authorize the use for
Yes.
it. Okay.
yes, ma'am.
I second the change
Thank
use authorized
Thank
into use.
Nobody said use,
Yes.
and that's what was
Yes.
throwing me off, so.
Well, sorry, you didn't use the right word.
That's right, okay.
Anybody,
enough.
anybody from the audience want to talk about the pop-up?
Yeah.
Please, yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about it probably.
Uh-oh.
We got a motion.
Yeah.
Oh, Miss Betty, could you come up and say your name? Nothing? Okay. We got a motion. Oh,
No, we gotta.
There are some guidelines up on the board if you'd like to,
Mhm.
on the TV, if you'd like to read this.
oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Good evening.
Good evening. Hi, how are you? What kind of vendors are you going
Your
to
name.
allow?
Your name,
Isaura. How are you?
Do you have a last name?
what is it?
Perez. Might as well say the whole thing,
Yeah,
right?
that's correct.
Because I heard no food and drink, right? So craft vendors, clothing vendors, anything else is okay?
Jewelry vendors.
Like, what if it's entertainment? What if it's like a singer or like a comedian up there or something? Would that kind of thing be allowed?
This is just more like
So-
retail vendors. I think what
Vendor.
HDT is looking for is more like a business incubator startup. So not really on the entertainment, but more of the smaller retail.
Actually
There's,
selling items, right?
Yeah, and there's some acceptable vendors too, and some kind of guidelines.
So the inquiries that have come forth are sales of items or not necessarily sales up there, but maybe pushing items that somebody has for sale elsewhere.
Mm.
And then we've also had some inquiries by nonprofits, such as the Art League or Lakeside Theater or even the Historical Society, where they'd like to come up and encourage people to come down to their businesses.
That would actually be great for the store.
So I think
What about and I'm sorry to interrupt you. What about things like more kind of on the fringes, like tarot readings, which is you're not selling an item, but you're selling a service.
It's covered elsewhere under the ordinance. I don't think
The table would not be available for that, though.
I don't believe you can have tarot readings.
Well, services. That they're selling services. What if it could be something else? Just,
Like a massage chair.
for example.
Okay, so that would be like, what if a massage therapist wanted to put a chair out there and
I think we could go into the weeds on a lot of this
Yes.
and what is, what isn't. But I think the first thing is let's start with the foundation and baseline. We can start with
Yeah, I
this
think-
and then.
yeah,
Well, I want to call and schedule and reserve it, so I need to know. Yeah, so I sell services. I don't sell goods, so that's why I'm asking.
And what do you sell?
Tarot readings.
Uh,
The one that he was pish poshing. That. It's okay. It's entertainment.
So, yeah, we do have, I think we've got some code that deals with tarot readings
So
in our code ordinances.
for that's.
So, Mr. Swain will be looking.
Oh, he's looking. Okay, because I don't know.
I really think that's more retail
I
product.
think vendor
No, it's
implies,
nothing
yeah.
against tarot reading, but,
No, I don't. I'm just trying to figure. I sell
Right.
something else. I'll make
but
purses.
I think it's,
Yeah.
I think this is more of a retail.
I just want to have a
Type
clear
site.
picture of what can go into it and what can't.
And that's what he's going to work on, is having a clearer.
When can I call in and start reserving it? And there needs to be liability insurance. Is that right?
yes.
And when can I call in and reserve? When can
Well,
those
when
calls
he
start?
comes up with the
Probably
guidelines.
about a month.
In about in 30 days or so. Okay.
You can call and see if it's available. Yeah.
That, okay. All right. Well, thank you.
It's
so
gonna
much.
be hot out there in the
I know.
summertime though.
Oh, I'm excited.
There's two
Thank you so
umbrellas,
much.
so
Huh?
there's
Oh,
two
there is two
umbrellas,
umbrellas?
yeah.
I also saw that they had a little bakery thing on the front in the episode.
Yeah, I think
That
that was only
was-
for the episode.
That was only for
Yeah.
the
That was for that episode.
I think that was brought in.
That was
yeah.
brought in.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Motion. We got a second.
Yeah.
Let's take a vote.
Hold on,
Yes.
paper.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Motion approved. All right, Kathy your time to shine. Pay some bills.
Yeah. Council needs for the paying of bills.
So moved.
Second.
Since Harrison can't do
You
it.
can't do it. All right. Got a motion, we got a second. Let's call the roll. Unless anybody else doesn't want to pay the bills for the city.
Carlisle.
Yes.
Avery.
Yes.
Palmachado.
Yes.
All right.